On Friday 13th of August 2021, Queen Elizabeth resumed her cruising schedule, returning Cunard passenger voyages to the high seas after a 17-month hiatus. The 90,900-ton Cunarder will spend the next few weeks cruising locally out of Southampton on cruises in UK waters. In October, the ship will set sail on the first Cunard international voyage since cruising was paused in March 2020.
Hi, I'm Chris Frame. I write maritime history books and lecture aboard cruise ships about maritime history. I also make YouTube videos on the topics of maritime history and cruising. If that sounds like the sort of thing you're interested in, please feel free to subscribe.
Queen Elizabeth has been anchored off the coast of the UK since returning to British waters over a year ago. During this period of warm layup, the ship was spotted in Southampton and off Weymouth, Babbacombe, Plymouth and Portsmouth. Queen Elizabeth was based in Australia when COVID-19 brought cruising to a standstill in early 2020. The ship disembarked her last guests in Sydney in March of last year and spent a brief period in layup off the coast of Queensland. When the Australian government closed Australia's border to internationally flagged cruise ships, Queen Elizabeth sailed north to the Philippines. The ship spent several months there in the company of cruise ships from P&O Cruises Australia, Costa, Carnival, Princess, Seabourn and Royal Caribbean. When it became clear that cruising would not resume in 2020, Queen Elizabeth sailed back to the UK, arriving home in July last year. More recently, the ship was due to return to service in July 2021, but an outbreak of COVID among some crew members delayed Cunard's resumption of cruising until August. The COVID pandemic represents the longest period of inactivity in Cunard's 181-year history, but it is far from the first time that the line has faced hardship. During global conflicts such as World War I and World War II, most passenger services were suspended, with Cunard's fleet requisitioned for use as troop carriers, hospital ships, and in some cases, armed merchant cruisers. Cunard has also survived past health crises. The company, as well as most other steamship companies, operated through such events as the 1918 flu pandemic and the cholera pandemics of the 1800s. Back then, steamships were the only way to transport goods, mail, and people across oceans, and as such, sailings were maintained regardless of world events. Countries that had mass migration programs, such as the United States, set up huge quarantine facilities to screen and isolate unwell travelers. You can actually visit one of these facilities at Ellis Island in New York Harbor. Despite past health crises, COVID-19 is the first time that the company, along with all other cruise lines, have completely suspended services, making the resumptions of sailings all the more significant for the line. Passengers travelling on board Queen Elizabeth in 2021 will be required to be vaccinated before cruising, and the initial voyages will be open to UK residents only. Additionally, travellers will receive a COVID test at the terminal. Cunard expects to resume transatlantic crossings aboard Queen Mary II later this year, while Queen Victoria will remain laid up until April 2022. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Are you travelling on board Queen Elizabeth during her initial cruises in 2021? If you are, I'd be fascinated to hear what you thought of the cruise experience in the comments below. Thanks once again for watching, and until next time, I hope to see you on board.